Fellow Stratters, Bobgar here. I'm going to go over a deck list for Bant Eldrazi that I play. First off, we're going to go over the mana base, and the obvious inclusion is Eldrazi Temple. This gives you 2 colorless mana to cast Eldrazi, and Eldrazi use a lot of colorless mana. Also pays 2 mana towards Eldrazi-based abilities, which can be relevant with some of the Eldrazi we have. Cavern of Souls, super good in any tribal. I only have 3 of them. I should run 4, I just only own 3 of them. Taps for any mana for the chosen type. Usually we choose Eldrazi. In very, very rare situations I have ended up choosing Noble or Birds, but almost always choose Eldrazi. Very powerful card. Then we have a couple dual lands that are, they're pain lands, so if you want to make colorless with them, they cost a life, but they have the ability to tap for a colorless. We have these because it's important in our deck to generate colorless mana. A lot of our creatures require colorless mana to be cast. So we have Brushlands, which are green and white, and we also have Yavimaya Coast, which are green-blue. I use 3 of both just because we do have some blue cards in the deck, one that even requires double blue, so good to have some blue, even though white is usually more relevant. We have a few more white sources, especially the Path to Exiles, that we want to hit relatively early. Then we got some shocks, 1 of each dual basically, so white-blue, white-green, and blue-green, and then 4 of Windswept Teeth. They can they can grab any of the shocks, and they can also grab any of the basics except for islands, and then I also run 1 of each basic. So a plains, a forest, and an island. Then the 1-drops. So let's start at the bottom and work our way up. First we have 4 Noble Hierarchs. These are basically mana generators that ramp us a little bit, help us get to our mid-range game plan, because most of our creatures are 3 to 6 mana. We don't basically do that much in the early turn. We want to get to 3 to 6 mana as quickly as possible, so this helps us accelerate to that. 2 birds, they do the same thing. Nobles are slightly better because they have Exalted, which means if we have 1 creature swinging in, he'll get +1/+1. Then 4 copies of Ancient Stirrings. Ancient Stirrings is super helpful in the deck. It helps us find a threat late game because it grabs any of our colorless creatures, which are basically all of our creatures except for these mana dorks. And early game it can find us lands, especially it'll often find us temples early game to let us get Thought Knot and Reality Smasher down sooner. And then we run 4 Path to Exiles. Most decks that are white run this card. It's just one of the best removals in the format. 1 white mana, exile a creature. The player whose creature you exile gets to search their library for a land, but usually you're exiling a creature that's, you know, powerful enough that you don't care if they got a land to replace it. Then the 2-drops. All we have at the 2-drop are Spell Skites. We got 2 of them. This is just good in so many matchups, and it helps us a lot against decks that are even more aggro than us, like Naya Burn and things like that. 1, you can grab the burn spells with the Spell Skite, and 2, you can, block a Goblin Guide indefinitely. And probably a Swift Spear as well. I mean, I guess if they pump it enough, that could kill you, but not usually. 3 drops. We run 4 Matter Reshaper. This guy is pretty good. He's a 3/2 for 3. When he dies, you get to reveal the top card of your library. If it's converted mana cost 3 or less, you can put it immediately on the battlefield, and if not, it goes into your hand. So when he dies, he draws you a card. So he's super valuable. He works really well with Emerge, which we have 1 of. Eldrazi Sky Spawner. A lot of people don't run this one in favor of just Matter Reshaper and Eldrazi Displacer. I run it as a 2 of. I think it's pretty useful. It's nice as a target for Displacer occasionally if you have nothing else to do with your mana, just to spawn more Scions as chump blockers or whatever. It also gets in the sky, which can be useful, and it does ramp you very slightly by putting that 1/1 into play, which can occasionally get you to Drowner or Reality Smasher turn sooner, which can help in some situations. And then 3 Eldrazi Displacers. I mean, it certainly could be 4. They are very, very powerful. They're mostly good if you get your Drowner of Hope out, so you can tap down 2 things for 3 mana. But they're also just a 3/3 for 3 on their own, which is very good. And you can blink opponent's creatures to get through, or blink your opponent's token creatures to get rid of them permanently. Lots of things you can do with them. Thought Knot Seer is one of the powerhouses of the deck. 3 colorless and 3 generic and a colorless mana 4/4. When he comes into play, you get to look at your opponent's hand and remove a non-land card from it. It gets exiled. And when he dies, that opponent gets to draw a card. So occasionally late game they're not that desirable, but early game the hand disruption is just so good. And a lot of times you're dropping these turn 3, and occasionally you're even dropping them turn 2 if you either have 2 Eldrazi Temples or land into Mana Dork into Eldrazi Temple. But yeah, super good against a lot of decks, especially things like combo. But even non-combo decks, it helps to get rid of your opponent's stuff. Whatever their most important card is, you get to get rid of it. Reality Smasher is your big beater. He's a 5/5. He has Trample and Haste, and he's hard to remove. If opponents target him with a spell, they have to discard a card, otherwise it's countered. So he's pretty powerful, especially if you can get him down early and force your opponent to remove him with, they have to cast Path to Exile on him, they have to also discard a card and you get a land, so it can be pretty good. Draenor, I'm running him as a 3/0. Some people run him as a 4 and don't run the Deep Fiend, but I like Deep Fiend a lot. He is a 5/5 for 6, and he doesn't even have haste, so he's got a few knocks on him compared to Smasher, but what he comes with are 2 Scions, so he comes with 2 extra bodies, and he gives you the ability to tap down creatures by sacrificing a Scion. So as I noted, he's great with Eldrazi Displacer because he lets you create 2 Scions at instant speed whenever you want, and then you can sack those Scions instantly if you want to tap down your opponent's stuff. So yeah, he's very useful. As long as your opponent has creatures to tap down, he's super good. And if you're playing some kind of creature light deck like Control or some combo deck like Ad Nauseam, he's almost a dead card. It costs 6 mana. I mean, he's not a dead card. He's a good aggro card, but he costs 6 mana. So I often don't like him a lot in those situations. And then Elder Deep Fiend, against those kind of decks, Elder Deep Fiend's a lot better. He's a 5/6 instead of a 5/5. He only taps things down when he enters the battlefield, but he gets to tap down 4 things right away, and he can tap down lands, which can be a big deal. So on your opponent's upkeep, you can tap down 4 of their lands and basically make it so they just can't do anything that turn, which is super valuable. He also key combos really well with Matter Reshaper, and he's alright with Sky Spotter. Both of them are pretty good targets to let you play this turn 4 or 5. Sideboard's pretty straightforward. I don't have an optimal sideboard. I'm missing a lot of the white cards a lot of decks play. A lot of decks play Stony Silence and Rest in Peace. I don't have them. I don't own them. A lot of decks also run Engineered Explosives, which I also don't own. They're just a little too expensive for me, and I just haven't bought them. I have Relic Progenitus to get rid of graveyards. I run Pithing Needle to take care of Planeswalkers or other problem artifacts, and things like that. Anything with an activated ability. Stubborn Denial and 2 negates are non-creature counter spells. Those are good in combo matchups and control matchups. Blessed Alliance is pretty good against aggro. Makes your opponent sack a creature and gain 4 life, or even just tap 2 creatures and gain 4 life is fine too. Unravel the Aether is my artifact destruction of choice. A lot of people run other things like Natural State. I run Unravel the Aether because I like the ability to get rid of an artifact without killing it. This is mostly just for Worm Coil and Tron, but I do find Tron to be a pretty hard matchup in general, so it's good to have in those cases. One more Displacer in the board in matchups where it's really good. Choke, obviously against blue decks like Merfolk or sometimes Control. Creeping Corrosion, destroy all artifacts. Another generically good answer to a lot of decks. And one Elder Deep Fiend in the sideboard. So yeah, the sideboard's not optimal. There's definitely a lot of ways I could improve it. But it is what it is. It definitely has solutions to some things in the meta. Anyway, that's the deck tech. I wanted to at least put a deck tech out so you saw what the deck looked like and saw kind of how it worked, which I think most people know how it works, but you know, I at least show you the version of the deck that I'm running before I post videos of it. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, it really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter at MagicGathStrat, Facebook /MagicGatheringStrat, or on the web, magicgatheringstrat.com. There you can find articles and free prize-supported leagues. This is all brought to you by our Patreons and cardhoarder.com. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/MagicGatheringStrat.